If you think this Lakers playoff run is just about beating the Rockets, you're missing the real story, because behind every possession, there's a looming decision that could shake the entire NBA. Before we go any further, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop your opinion in the comments, because what's unfolding in Los Angeles right now is bigger than a first-round series. The Lakers are deep in the 2026 NBA playoffs, locked into a high-stakes battle with the Houston Rockets, and on the surface, it looks like a team focused purely on survival and advancement. But anyone paying close attention knows there's something else hovering over this franchise, something that refuses to fade into the background, and that's the future of LeBron James. Even as the intensity of postseason basketball reaches its peak, that question keeps resurfacing. What happens when this season ends? Because for the first time in a long time, there's no clear answer. Lakers Governor Jeannie Buss recently addressed the situation, and she didn't dance around it. She made it clear that while the organization has its hopes, the decision belongs entirely to LeBron. She said she would love to see him retire as a Laker, and honestly, that's what most fans want too. It feels right. It feels like the perfect ending to a legendary chapter. But at the same time, she acknowledged reality. LeBron is heading into free agency. He still has value. He still has options. And more importantly, he still has control. That control is what makes this situation so unique. LeBron James, in his 23rd season, is not being pushed out by decline. He's not being forced into retirement. He's still producing at a level most players can't reach in their prime. He's still one of the smartest players on the floor, still dictating tempo, still making defenses collapse with his presence alone. And that changes everything. Because when a player of that caliber reaches this point in his career, the ending isn't written for him. He writes it himself. Now think about the possibilities. He could re-sign with the Lakers and take another shot at a championship, especially alongside a rising superstar like Luka Doncic, who has already begun to reshape the identity of this team. He could test free agency and explore one final chapter somewhere else, or he could walk away entirely, choosing to end his career on his own terms without the spectacle. And that last option, it's becoming more real than ever. LeBron hasn't committed to playing beyond this season. There's been no public promise, no long-term hint, nothing to reassure fans that he's coming back. And when you combine that with the physical toll of 23 seasons, it's impossible to ignore what might be coming. Jeannie Buss even brought up Kobe Bryant's farewell season, and that comparison hits hard. When Kobe announced his retirement, it gave the entire league time to celebrate him. Every arena turned into a tribute. Every game felt like history. Fans showed up not just to watch basketball, but to say thank you. Now imagine that for LeBron James. We're talking about a player with 4 championships, 4 MVP awards, the all-time scoring record, and a legacy that spans multiple eras of the NBA. If he chooses to retire, it won't just be a moment. It will be a global event. But here's where it gets even more complicated. LeBron holds all the cards. If he wants to stay, the Lakers will welcome him back instantly. If he wants to leave, they won't stop him. If he wants to retire quietly, they'll respect that too. There is no pressure from the organization, no attempt to force a narrative. And that kind of freedom is rare, even for a player of his status. At the same time, the speculation is already building. Teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers have been mentioned, and you can see why. A return to Cleveland would bring everything full circle. It would be poetic. The hometown hero finishing where it all began. Then you've got teams like the Golden State Warriors and the New York Knicks floating around in conversations. None of it is confirmed, but the fact that these possibilities even exist tells you everything about where things stand. And as all of this unfolds, there's another layer that makes the situation even more emotional. Bronny James. The father-son dynamic has already made history, but now the question is whether that story continues. Do they stay together in Los Angeles? Do they move elsewhere? Or does it all come to an end this season? That uncertainty adds a personal dimension to what is already one of the most watched storylines in the NBA. But while all of this is happening off the court, the Lakers still have a job to do on it. And that brings us back to the series against Houston, because despite all the noise, the Lakers came out and won Game 1. And they didn't just win, they showed resilience. They showed depth. They showed that this team is more than just one player. And speaking of that, if you're still here, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, because because we're breaking down everything you need to know about this Lakers run. Now here's the twist. The Lakers are doing this without Luka Doncic at full strength. He's been dealing with a grade 2 hamstring strain, and that's not something you rush back from. This is a player who averaged over 30 points per game, a player who completely transforms the offense. And right now, he's not even running in practice. He's back with the team, sure. He's been at the facility, but his participation has been limited. Rebounding, passing, light movement, that's it. And that matters, because there's a big difference between being present and being ready. The Lakers understand that. They're not going to risk their future for a short-term push, because if they get past Houston, they're likely facing a powerhouse like the Oklahoma City Thunder. And going into that matchup with a compromised Doncic doesn't help anyone. So for now, it's about patience. Game 1 proved they can compete without him. Role players stepped up, the defense held strong, and most importantly, LeBron delivered when it mattered. That's what makes this team dangerous. Even without their full roster, they find ways to win. But let's be real. They're going to need Doncic if they want to make a deep run. And that's where things get interesting again. Because while the Lakers are focused on the playoffs, the front office is already thinking ahead. And one name that keeps coming up is Miles Turner. He's not the flashiest option, but he might be the smartest one. Turner brings something this team desperately needs: rim protection and floor spacing. He can anchor the defense, alter shots, and still contribute offensively without demanding the ball. That kind of fit next to Doncic is seamless. It doesn't disrupt the system. It enhances it. And in a league where teams often chase superstars at any cost, going after a player like Turner could be the move that actually balances the roster. Of course, there's always the bigger dream: Giannis Antetokounmpo. The idea of pairing him with Doncic is enough to get any fan excited, but it comes with a price, a massive one. Draft picks, young assets, flexibility. The Lakers have to decide if that gamble is worth it, because once you make that move, there's no going back. And that decision becomes even more complicated when you factor in LeBron's future. Do you go all in on building around Doncic? Do you try to extend the LeBron era? Or do you find a way to do both? That's the challenge facing this organization right now. And it's not just about talent. It's about timing. It's about chemistry. It's about understanding where the league is headed and positioning yourself to stay ahead of it. The Lakers have been here before. They've made bold moves. They've taken risks, and sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. But this offseason feels different, because it's not just about adding pieces. It's about defining the next era of Lakers basketball. And as the playoffs continue, every game adds another layer to that story. Every performance shapes the narrative. Every decision carries weight. So when you watch this team, you're not just watching a playoff series, you're watching a turning point. And before we wrap this up, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell me what you think in the comments, because this conversation is just getting started. Now here's the question. Do you think LeBron James plays one more season with the Lakers, or are we witnessing the final chapter of his legendary career right now?